So if you've ever cracked open an Econ 101 textbook, you've learned all about supply, demand, and these perfectly rational people making perfect decisions. But, what happens when those neat and tidy theories run smack into the real, messy world? Well, that's exactly where we're going today, to the frontiers of microeconomics, where things get really interesting.
You know that feeling, right? Maybe you're buying a used car, or you're wondering if your employee's actually working from home. That little nagging sense that there's an imbalance of information, well, it's not just a feeling. It's an incredibly powerful economic force that can twist and shape markets in some really strange and fascinating ways.
So today, we are going to tackle 3 huge puzzles. First up, we're going to dive deep into this problem of hidden information. Then, we'll actually use those same economic tools to make sense of the, let's call it, weird logic of politics. And finally, we'll turn the lens on ourselves and see how our own brains can lead us to make some pretty irrational economic choices. Okay, let's get into it. First up, the challenge of making decisions when you just don't have all the facts. And this is a huge deal in pretty much everything, from hiring someone for a job to buying insurance.
The big idea here has a fancy name, asymmetric information. But really all it is a formal way of saying what we all know deep down. In a lot of deals, one person has a critical piece of info that the other person doesn't. I know something you don't know. And that simple imbalance can throw a massive wrench in the gears of a market.
Now, this one problem actually splits into 2 different flavors. On the one hand, you've got moral hazard. This is all about hidden actions. Think about it. An employee starts scrolling social media the second their boss turns their back. Their behavior changes because no one's watching. But then you have adverse selection, and this is about hidden characteristics. The classic example? The people who are the most likely to buy health insurance are the people who need it the most, which can drive up costs for everybody.
To really get a handle on adverse selection, let's look at a classic case that I'm willing to bet we've all worried about. Why is the used car market such a total minefield?
Well, this brings us to the famous lemons problem. Let's just walk through it step by step. So, step 1. The seller knows for sure if their car is a gem or a piece of junk, a lemon. But you, the buyer, have no idea. Step 2. So, who's the most motivated to sell their car? It's the person with the lemon, of course. Step 3. Now, the person with a really great car looks at the lowball offers from buyers who are scared of getting ripped off, and they just think, forget it, it's not even worth selling. And the result? Step 4. The market gets flooded with bad cars, the good cars vanish, and buyers get so paranoid they might just give up entirely. That information gap has totally broken the market.
But here's the cool part. Markets are resilient. They find clever ways to fight back against this stuff. You have signaling, which is when the person with the info proves their quality, like how getting a college degree signals to employers that you're smart and hardworking. And then there's screening, which is the other way around. That's when the uninformed party designs a system to get the other person to reveal their info, like an insurance company offering a plan with a super high deductible to attract only the safest drivers.
All right, let's take these ideas about imperfect systems and jump into our second frontier, politics. Believe it or not, we can apply the same rational economic lens to something that often feels, well, messy and emotional. Let's talk about government and democracy.
This quote really sets the stage perfectly. Now, we're not here to take sides or judge. We're just putting on our economist hats to analyze. And these tools can actually help us understand why democratic systems sometimes produce outcomes that, frankly, nobody seems to be happy with.
Okay, one of the most mind-bending problems in this field is something called the Condorcet paradox. It shows that even if every single voter is perfectly rational, majority rule can create a totally illogical loop. I mean, think about it. If a group prefers A over B, and B over C, you'd think they'd obviously prefer A over C, right? Well, get ready for this. That's not always true.
Let's look at an example. We've got 3 candidates, A, B, and C, and 3 different groups of voters. You'll notice right away, no single candidate has a majority of first-choice votes. Group 1 wants A, Group 2 wants B, and Group 3 wants C. So, who should win? It seems impossible to tell.
And this is where the paradox just slaps you in the face. Watch what happens if we have them vote in pairs. Over on the left, let's say B goes against C first. B wins. Okay. Then the winner, B, goes up against A, and A wins. So A is our champion. Simple, right? But wait, what if we just change the order? Look at the right side. If we start with A versus C, C wins. Then C faces off against B, and B wins. We have the exact same voters, the exact same preferences, but changing the voting order gave us a totally different winner. So what's the giant takeaway here? It's that the outcome wasn't really decided by the will of the people. It was decided by whoever got to set the agenda, whoever decided the voting order. Agenda setting isn't just some boring procedural detail. It is a source of incredible power in any democratic system.
Which brings us to our third and final frontier. We've looked at flawed markets and quirky politics, but now we turn the lens inward. The whole field of behavioral economics asks this really fundamental question. Are we, the people making all these economic choices, really as rational as the old textbooks assume we are?
And the answer from tons of psychological research is a huge, resounding nope. We are systematically irrational and in very predictable ways. We are almost always overconfident in our own abilities. We get swayed way too easily by one dramatic story instead of tons of data. And, oh yeah, we have serious confirmation bias. We love to find evidence that proves what we already believe.
And honestly, nothing shows this better than a simple little experiment called the ultimatum game. The rules are super easy. I've got $100. I have to propose a way to split it with you. If you accept my offer, great, we both get the money. But if you reject it, we both walk away with nothing. Zero.
So really think about it for a second. If you're the one proposing the split, what do you offer? If you're being purely self-interested, you might think, I'll just offer $1. I mean, hey, $1 is better than nothing, right? But then you have to start worrying. Will the other person think that's fair? Or will they get offended?
And here's where the theory just smashes into reality. A perfectly rational, self-interested person should accept any offer at all, even a penny. But that is not what happens. In the real world, people consistently reject offers they feel are insultingly low. They would rather get nothing than let a greedy person get away with a lopsided split. Our built-in sense of fairness is a powerful economic force that can completely override pure self-interest.
Okay, so after all that, where does this leave us? We've journeyed to three frontiers that really challenge those simple models from Econ 101. So let's tie it all together.
So what have we learned? First, that hidden information isn't some minor issue. It can fundamentally break markets and create things like the lemons problem. Second, that democratic choices can be shockingly weird and paradoxical, with the winner often depending on the rules of the game, not just the voters. And finally, we've learned that we ourselves are not the perfectly rational robots of old economic theories. Our psychology, our biases, our feelings, they all matter a lot. And that's really the big takeaway. Economics at its frontiers doesn't give you all the answers, but it does give you a powerful new set of lenses. It helps you see the hidden information gaps, the weird procedural rules, and the psychological biases that are always at work, shaping our world. So the final question, that's for you. Now that you see all this, what will you look at differently?